Who loves a good puzzle? Today's automotive adventure is exactly that. What kind of puzzle? This is a paperwork puzzle. Now, before you think that's super boring and tune out, it's the paperwork puzzle that many classic car buyers face. You fall in love with a vehicle, and then you see those words, no title, bill of sale only. That is the case with the Jeep that I bought here, the Willys M170. When I originally bought it, I knew I didn't have a title. I just wanted it for the body. I've since decided I would like to title it and drive it as it is. Or if I wanted to sell it, either way, to be legal in Michigan, I need to have a title. So I start looking into the process of getting one. Here's what I see on the internet. For a Willys M170, the title process is complex because the vehicle was originally military surplus and did not come with a standard civilian title. Your specific procedure will depend on whether you're the original surplus buyer or a private purchaser and what documentation you currently possess. Unlike modern vehicles, military surplus Jeeps like the M170 can be titled either as a standard vehicle or a historic military surplus vehicle, depending on state laws. In Michigan, where you are located, a special process exists for titling historic military vehicles. So the article goes on to talk about the process to gather documentation. I need to have the whole history of paperwork from the time this was sold as military surplus, on and on and on, the chain of ownership, photographs. I don't have any of that. So I'm going to try to title it using existing Michigan processes for a vehicle with a lost title. Will I be successful? I don't know, but just like a lot of repairs, it's going to take creativity and perseverance to get it done. Right now it's 9:30 a.m. I have an appointment at the Secretary of State for 4:20 p.m. My goal is between now and then to gather what I need to get it done. In the middle of the day, I have a dentist appointment on the other side of town, so I'm kind of up against the clock. I've done some research on the process, and here are the two different paths that we have. The two different processes in the state of Michigan both begin with this Secretary of State Form TR-54. It's a vehicle number and equipment inspection form. I complete the top with my name and all the data about me. Then I fill in the year, make, model, VIN of the vehicle. Then I have to have a police officer inspect the vehicle, and they're validating that VIN is actually on that vehicle. Normally, you'd have to take it up to the police station to do that. I knew an officer who stopped by the house and did it for me, and they have to sign it. One option then to title the vehicle is called this ownership certificate. And again, you're completing that your name and the year, make, model, VIN of the vehicle. Then you say where it was acquired, who you acquired it from, and how you acquired it. Now, this form is very specific in its instructions. One, it says this form's a last resort when the vehicle title's been lost, stolen, or destroyed, and you can't reach the original purchaser. So this assumes there was a title, it's just gone. Eligibility for using this procedure: vehicle must be 10 years old or older, check. The value can't exceed $2,500, well, that's a matter of opinion. Can't be used with mobile homes, we're all set there. Cannot be used for vehicles acquired out of state. The out-of-state title's required, and that's where I hit a snag. And it can't be used unless the applicant has exhausted all possibilities. So this Willys M170, the guy I bought it from, he bought it in San Diego. Then he hauled it back to the state of Washington where he lived at the time. Then he moved to Tennessee and took the vehicle with him. Then I drove to Tennessee and brought it to Michigan. So it's an out-of-state vehicle, so I cannot use this form. It says there at the bottom, if the vehicle does not meet the above criteria and you can't obtain an assigned ownership document from the previous owner, a surety bond must be purchased. So that's option 2, and that's the one that we're going to pursue. I'm not really familiar with what a surety bond even is or how it works, so I'm going to just Google it. I've never had to buy one before. And what I see here, I like AI mode because it searches the web for me. And so a Michigan surety bond is required to obtain a bonded title if you cannot provide standard proof of ownership of the vehicle. Okay, that is the case. You may need a bonded title under the following circumstances: you never received a title, is lost, or the one you received is damaged. Surety bonds not needed. Yep, under $2,500 or less. So contact Secretary of State, determine your vehicle's value with an appraisal guide or from an appraisal from a Michigan dealer. Purchase the bond, submit your application. All right, well, I guess that's what it takes. So I'm going to see, how do I buy a bond online? Well, I searched how do I buy a surety bond online, and I found suretybonds.com. I mean, the name just says it all. And I put in some information and my name and stuff. But before we continue, before we provide pricing, we must note the following. The bond is double the title item's value as determined by NADA or a dealer appraisal. So I need to know what's the value of the vehicle from a NADA or a blue book or a black book or a dealer appraisal. So the 1954 Jeep is not going to be in any sort of price guide. So I need a dealer appraisal of my vehicle. Now, one thought I had was there was a guy who stopped by my house when I was working outside. He saw the Jeep and he said, hey, I buy buy and sell Jeep parts for the last 40 years, and I work over at this dealership. If you ever need anything for your Jeep, come see me at the dealership. So what I'm going to try to do is go to this Jeep dealership and take my bill of sale and pictures of my Jeep and see, will they just write me a dealer appraisal? So that's what I'm going to try. We'll see how it goes. Well, I'm here at the dealership. And by the way, thanks for coming. I wasn't sure if you were available or not, so I'm glad we could make the drive together. My goal is to walk out of here with a $2,000 appraisal. That's what I paid for the vehicle. I have the bill of sale that says $2,000. The surety bonds under $6,000 are a set price of $100. And when I pay taxes on the vehicle, I either have to pay what I paid or the appraisal value, which is higher. So I really don't want an appraisal of, $4,000, $6,000, that type of thing. I'm going to take my bill of sale and the photos of the vehicle, which I hope is enough for a friendly dealership employee to give me an appraisal. So how about you stay here, sit with our equipment. I'll leave you the keys. You can listen to the radio, okay? And I'll be right back. Strike one. So talk to the sales manager, and they need a VIN that they can put into their system that is recognized by their system. Of course, this VIN isn't. I said, can't you just write a piece of paper, an appraisal? I need it from a licensed dealer, and he didn't want to. I mean, we're not buddies or anything. I'm friends with a parts guy. So he did say he suggested I go to a classic car dealer, which we have several in the area, like a licensed dealer for classic cars. He said, go there, they'll be able to hook you up. And I hadn't thought of that, but I really like that idea. So I'm going to jump on the phone and find one, and we'll head there together. Well, I decided instead of just driving around aimlessly again, I would make a few phone calls, and I'm glad I did. So I called Gateway Classic Cars in Dearborn. They're the first one that came to mind, and they do not do appraisals. They gave me the number of 2 places that did. So I called them, and the one guy said $380. He'd give me a deal, $360, and he'd come out to the house and do the appraisal. The other guy said $295, and he would come out to the house and do the appraisal as well. So I got to think about, do I really want to spend that kind of money on this title? Why is everything got to be so difficult? I'm good. You want to go get some lunch or something? Maybe a pumpkin spice latte? I don't know. What are you in the mood for? I got my teeth cleaned. and I feel amazing. Now that I cut my own hair, this is the only pampering I get. This must be how women feel after getting their nails done. I reclined, I had a professional working on me, buffing me, cleaning me, giving me attention, asking me how my day was. It was awesome. So I canceled my Secretary of State appointment for 4/20 because if I do get the appraisal, it takes 48 hours. So I think that the idea that I was going to get an appraisal from the Dodge dealership or the Jeep dealership and get everything done today was probably naive, a little optimistic, but you know, you go in with a plan and then you take what comes your way. So still got some work to do on that. But now I want to put these chompers to work. I think I might go get me some Oreos. I'm sitting here looking at the information on the vehicle appraisal, and you know, it's expensive, but I'm going to go ahead and do it. I think the appraisal $295, surety bond for $100. I'm going to have to pay tax, title, and license, but for the love of the adventure. It's all about the adventure. And I've never done it before, so it's kind of I'll get all learned up on how appraisals work and surety bonds, and I think I'll be that much more educated in the event that I want to buy another vehicle with a title. And you'll learn in the process too, because we're on the adventure together. So I'm looking at this. I can have them come out and take all the pictures. I have to schedule it. If they could come tomorrow, Saturday, that'd be great. But they also show all the shots that I would need to take to submit the photos and have the appraisal done that way. If they can't come out tomorrow, I'm just going to do the photos myself and send it in and see where we go. So that's what I decided to do. So I decided to go with Motor City Auto Appraisers, and Marty from there was able to come out same day on a Friday. He took a whole bunch of pictures. He explained he will look up comps and get me pricing. He said it would take 48 hours. It was over a weekend with a Sunday and stuff, so it ended up taking 72 hours. It cost $295, which, again, it's more than I wanted to spend, but it's part of the learning process. And overall, I was really happy with the experience with them. Well, I received the appraisal here in my email, and I'm going to show you what it looks like through screen capturing. Here's the appraisal report from Motor City Auto Appraisers for my Willys M170 Military Field Ambulance. As it says here, to whom it may concern, they appraised the vehicle, and it came in at $3,500. Fair market value. Well, how did they do that? This is actually a really cool report. Then they talk about my specific vehicle and the VIN or serial number, and they describe it. He took several pictures of my vehicle, which was really cool. He needed to document that. Condition report, a lot of poor. Only thing good was the wheels. Tires average, actually they're poor. He lists 3 comps. I had told him that the CJ6 is the civilian version is comparable to this M170, and that accounted for 2 of what he found. So here's a CJ6 for $6,500. Here's a CJ6 for $5,000. And then he found an M170 for $3,500. It actually does look pretty comparable. I don't know if it runs. I'm sure I could look at the description of this seller, but very comparable vehicle for $3,500. So the appraisal was for $3,500. That's okay. I would like for it to have been $2,000 for a few reasons. When I pay taxes on the vehicle at the Secretary of State, it needs to be at the appraised value, so my tax cost is going to be a little higher. And when I buy the surety bond, it's based on double the appraised value, so the surety bond is going to be a little higher, but those are really just incremental costs. So $3,500 is pretty good. So next, I need to go online and buy a surety bond, and then take my appraisal, my surety bond, and go to the Secretary of State and apply for the title. Well, here I am, my local Secretary of State office. About to go on in and talk with the friendly people there about titles and such. I can't really take my video in there. They don't allow you to video, and I wouldn't feel right recording in there as well, just recording voice. So I'm going to give you a full report as soon as I get out. Wish me luck. Well, it all went about as planned. The surety bond, the forms, they still made me fill out that first form, the one I called option 1, the ownership certificate, which isn't useful unless you paid under $2,500. That's still my concern is it asks where did you acquire this vehicle, and I had to put Jackson, Tennessee because I don't make things up. That still is my the one outside concern is will they see that and say go to Tennessee and get a title. I'm not sure, but I think that's the reason you got the surety bond, the whole thing. I am not going to consider it success until I open my mailbox and pull out a title. But all the hurdles of paperwork, and of course my wallet's another $225 lighter. But this adventure, this paperwork puzzle is not over until we open up the mailbox and get us a title. I'm smiling. Just got home from work. What's waiting for me? Looks like a title. Let's open it up. Check it out. I was waiting for you. I didn't want to do this without you. Okay, what do we have here? There's the VIN, 1954 Jeep. I was really hoping it'd say Willys, but M170, but it doesn't. It says Jeep. They had told me, so check it out. It says right here, 1954 Jeep, and then there's the number. Everything I saw online said it was going to say bonded title. It does not say bonded title anywhere on here, so it's just a regular title. I feel really great about that. So $600 to get, or $500 to get this little piece of paper right here, but I'm super excited. So again, what's important is creativity and perseverance. Just like any repair, sometimes these paperwork puzzles require the same type of creativity and perseverance to get it done. So we're going to say this puzzle is complete and this automotive adventure is done, and we're on to the next one.